The best phrase in all of sports. Super Bowl week. Super Bowl week. Man, where greatness is made. Where legacies are stamped. I mean, validation, vindication, so many great storylines. By the way, next 4 hours, we are powered by our great friends at BetUS. Please hit the like button. First 15 minutes of the program is the most important, so we appreciate all your likes. By the way, I want to give you guys a lot of love. I briefly mentioned this last week. Thank you, Zander, for this. The average person that watches this show every day is over an hour. Makes it one of the most watched shows in all of Philly and all of sports when we're on this type of platform here. And when we're talking football, NFL football, college football, sports in general. Hey, by the way, last 2 months, we've done well over 1 million views. I mean, bro, you guys are growing JAKIB like nobody else's business. And everybody thought when all that turnover we had a year ago was going to be our Death Star, we're actually a fucking shooting comet now. And it's all because of you guys. Thank you guys very much. Hey, no matter what the dissenters say about us, it's not happening. We got companies wanting to do all kinds of things with all the shows, especially my show here. We're trying to monetize it. All because of what you guys do. How's that for you? All the things that people thought weren't going to happen. I got to thank you guys. Thank you very much. This is the People's Show. I'm very proud of you guys, and I'm very proud of everybody that's working around it. The Krauses, Zander, Big Joe, you, dude, absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. And now I know why assholes like LJ are here. You probably can't have a show like this in Canada. How you doing? How you doing? Hit that damn like button. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again. 7 days. 7 days until the Super Bowl. We have some stories that we're going to hit on here before we get to the topics. Okay? Yeah, Justin Trudeau just shut down LJ's internet. How you doing? Yeah. Hey, all good, man. Hit the like button. Thank you, guys. All right. Howie Roseman. Here is what we have heard. Here is what we have heard about Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has requested a trade. Andrew Berry, the general manager, former executive with the Eagles, is fielding phone calls on what the market value would be for Myles Garrett, who's going to Canton. Now, remember, just because the initial offering price is out there, that doesn't necessarily mean it lands there. Okay? What we're hearing is if the Eagles and the Browns were to make a deal, it would be for A.J. Brown and a fourth. Would you do it? Can you imagine Myles Garrett and Jalen Carter? Could you imagine those two guys on the same D line? And if Zach Bond is able to continue to do what he does, and then you've got Jordan Davis next to him, and you've got on the other end, you've got Nolan Smith, Myles Garrett, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter. It'd be the most formidable front seven in the league. Now, again, there's going to be about 15 teams that are going to be in the market for him if the Browns do move off of him. Okay, that's not necessarily something that's going to be an easy putt for the Browns, and I'll tell you why. There's a 75% or $79 million price tag that's still out there that is owed to him. The Eagles would obviously have to restructure that contract for that thing to work. There's $79 million still owed to the guy. Okay? It's a lot of money, man. He's 29 years old. He's still awful productive, and I think he could be awful productive for the next 3 years. You got to determine one thing. You've got to determine this. If you win the Super Bowl on Sunday, and your wide receivers are not going to be instrumental in the way that you're going to go about winning games any longer, it's not going to be an air raid attack like you so think it's going to be. Why would you change from winning a Super Bowl in the formula that made you Super Bowl champions because you want to throw the ball? Why would you go against the thing that got you and made you the most successful? You got to fundamentally think how you're going to move forward with your offensive approach. Oh, in the offseason, we're going to rip it up. And we're going to go back to throwing the ball. Why? When you were delivered a Super Bowl. Carter and Garrett together would be unbelievable. It would be. Be the best front seven in the NFL. And I'm not sure that's close. Okay? Now, again, here's the thing you got to always remember about Howie. Howie explores every deal. That doesn't mean every deal makes it happen, and he can make it happen. I would make this point to you about Myles Garrett. Here's where I wouldn't want to see Myles Garrett on the other end of Joey Bosa in San Francisco, or with the Rams on the other side of Jared Verse. That's something I wouldn't want to see. Or in Detroit on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Garrett's 29. I wouldn't want to see those situations because that can change the room a little bit on you. Okay? I mean, Aiden Hutchinson and Myles Garrett are going to be both of your pass rushers on your edge. That's a lot. And remember something, the Commanders can make it happen too. Why? Because the Commanders have a shitload of cap space. So you've got to look at every scenario here. Could the Cowboys put him on the other side of Micah Parsons? Remember, when it comes to something like Myles Garrett, you've got to always start with the money because there's $79 million that is still owed to him. Now, because of the new collective bargaining agreement, they get to restructure that contract and defer money out. Personally, I think the top landing spot would be Washington. He gets out of the AFC, and he goes to a team that's got a shitload of money. The Washington Commanders have a shitload of money and 10 draft picks that they could make that happen. They've got the money and the space to make that happen. That would kind of up the page a little bit for Washington in the NFC East. Continuing to add great players. Washington getting another wide receiver on the other side of Terry McLaurin. And you add Myles Garrett. They did win 12-13 ball games last year. And you add people like that, Washington's going to continue to get better. He's going to go somewhere. By the way, he's going to land somewhere. And I would think if you're Cleveland, you would prefer it being in the NFC and not in the AFC. Remember that. Okay? Guy's a great football player. Let's not forget something here. Howie's got a shitload of work to do in the offseason. I'll make this point to you, too. Howie Roseman, I should say Howard Roseman, is so full of shit, sometimes his eyes turn brown. Did you see that dumb shit that he said at the Super Bowl already? I'm not shocked. I knew at the beginning that Saquon Barkley was going to have the season he was going to have this year. Then why the fuck did you offer DeAndre Swift the first contract if you knew that? What a liar. Here we go. It's Super Bowl week. People will try to change their narrative all they want. That's a fucking lie. He did not think that that was going to be the type of season he was going to have. That was his second choice. He offered a 2-year contract to DeAndre Swift before Swift took the $9 million or $8.5 million in Chicago. That's a total bullshit lie. And he's in there going, I knew he'd have this kind of year. Okay, Howie. Did you know that Bryce Huff would have this type of year too? I'm sure you thought that too, right? In light of the 14-5 he gave him. Nobody knows what someone's going to do, dude. The reason get this, the next thing will be is that Howie believed that Nolan Smith would have the year that he started having in the second half of the season. That's why you traded for Huff then, or signed Huff then, I mean. Give me a break, guy. Jesus, criminy. Some of these guys like Bill Polian wanting to, we had a first grade on Tom Brady. Bill Polian, one of the grandest lies of all, nobody had a first round grade on Tom Brady at the combines. Nobody did. Cleveland is getting ready to build a new dome stadium. They're gearing up for 29. Well, they better figure out that quarterback first. Remember something. That's why they want to trade Garrett. They want to trade Garrett because they need a quarterback. And I'm going to say it one more time to you. I don't think there's any quarterback coming out in this draft that's worthy of a first-round pick. Me, not happening. I'd wait for Arch Manning next year. Collect all the first-rounders I can possibly collect. Listen, I love Cam Ward down at Miami. I don't think he's a first-rounder. I look at Shedeur Sanders. I don't see it. I'm not signing those guys and making those guys the faces of my franchise. I just don't see it. So, would you trade for Myles Garrett? If Garrett is willing to, remember what, who was the kid? Guys, help me out here. By the way, please hit the like button. Who was the kid that Howie traded for? The DB from Tennessee. They restructured his contract when they brought him in. They redid it so that if they moved off him, it was only going to be like $400,000 or $500,000 in the offseason if they had to move off him. And he restructured it. Kevin Baird. That's it. If you remember right, they restructured the contract. Okay, they restructured it, and they were able to, if they were going to move off of him, they were going to not take a gigantic cap hit, which was like $400,000. All right. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again. The first 15 minutes are important. Would I make the move for Myles Garrett? I would if the price is right. Okay? Right? Get this. Yeah, I'm sure Howie will say that he predicted that Zach Bond was going to be an all-pro inside linebacker when they projected him to be an edge rusher. Sure. I like how Howie bullshits people, and people in Philly go, yeah, I can't believe it. He knew that Barkley would have this kind of year. And you're like, dude, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, that's why you started passing right out of the gate. And then you went into the bye week and you changed it around. Come on, man. That's what you're going to get all during Super Bowl week. You're going to get you're going to get like a whole bunch of horse shit being thrown at you. Okay? Guys, I appreciate it. Absolutely great stuff here, man. Hey, so yeah, I mean, would you make the deal for would you make the deal for Myles Garrett? Would I give A.J. Brown up for Myles Garrett? Could you imagine what Vic could do with Myles Garrett? Could you imagine? I think it's got a lot to do with who wins the Super Bowl. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl running the ball like this, I would trade AJ for Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett's going to Canton. AJ's not. Now, if AJ wins the Super Bowl, continues to put great numbers up, maybe. But the wide receiver position has got a logjam of great players that still have to be considered. By far not a first ballot, and especially in the passing game of today. There's hundreds of guys who will have better careers. Dude, DeAndre Hopkins has a better career. Antonio Brown has a better career than A.J. Brown. Are you under the notion that you think that A.J. Brown's had a better career than Antonio Brown? That's not true. Okay, that's not true. But Myles Garrett's going to Canton, probably a first ballot. I mean, what's the point of having A.J. Brown when you're winning Super Bowls running the ball? Let's see what happens Sunday. Another bit of news. Zander and I were talking about this. There's a report going around the building, and I'm talking at the NovaCare Center, that if Jeff Stoutland wins the Super Bowl, he's going to retire. He's 62, 63 years old. Not everybody's going to do this until they're 80 or until they die and not treat it like a Supreme Court appointee. I mean, there's conversation that he may retire at the end if they win the Super Bowl. That would be a massive blow if you lose Kellen Moore and if you lose the offensive line coach. Right now, wide receivers are oversaturated. It's similar to the overinflation of the quarterback contracts. Well, think about it. All the major wide receivers that you like in the game today, 90% of them have been traded once or twice. Think about it. All the big-time wideouts. Jefferson has not been traded, but Stephon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Hill's looking for his third team. All these big-time wide receivers all get dealt. Cooper Kupp's going to be traded this offseason. I mean, these wide receivers, supposedly, like I bring the point up to you in Kansas City. If that guy was so important in Kansas City's Super Bowl run, why'd they get rid of him? Okay? Why'd they get rid of him? I mean, it's about running the football and stopping the run, and that hasn't changed since 1920. Okay, so do I believe Stoutland would call it a career? Man, I mean, he's 62 years old. I think he could do it for a couple more years. Maybe what he'll do is he'll go out when Lane goes out. But just some scuttlebutt. Now, again, you're going to get a lot of news coming out of the Super Bowl. And you're going to hear all kinds of storylines. Do I believe it? Kind of, but not, I don't know. I find that hard to believe if that ends up chasing down being true. I could see him contemplating it. He talked about it 2 years ago. All right. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys so much. All right. We're going to do this here on a Monday. And we're going to look at both sides of the football here. This is how we're going to do this. Big Silz reasons that the Eagles beat the Chiefs on Sunday in Super Bowl 59. Hit the like button. Thank you very much, Harv. Is it possible that receivers will face a similar situation to what running backs faced over the last 15 years? You know why, Harv, that's not going to happen? Prop bets and gambling. Prop bets and gambling. No way. If scoring is up, receiver salaries are going to continue to escalate. Okay? They're going to continue to escalate. So those salaries are going to continue to go up. when it comes to corners, pass rushers, wideouts, and quarterbacks. That number will continue to rise. Okay? I wrote down some reasons for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs. I wrote 10 of them down. Then I'm going to go the reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. All right. I got 10 of these things I wrote down here. Hit the like button. By the way, guys, I appreciate you coming aboard here. Super Bowl 59 week. Man. Exciting. Can you imagine being the NBA right now? Holy shit. Who's watching that nightmare? Luka got traded. Who cares? Imagine that. Luka got traded, and it's a page 2 story. You know why? Because LeBron James destroyed the NBA. During his time, ratings have plummeted. He didn't bring any new viewers. He turned the NBA into a political arm of the Democratic Party. He endorses slave labor to make his shoes. He made the Lakers in the NBA draft his shitty, talented son. I mean, I don't know. Then they made the NBA trade Luka to the Lakers. You want to know why people don't watch that thing? It's rigged. Nobody, who would watch that thing? Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT. You know why? Michael Jordan was must-watch television. Ratings were over the top when he was in the sport. And you know why? Michael Jordan made sure of this. He wasn't political on both sides of the ball. You know what he just wanted to do? Play ball. And that's why people watch the NBA with his greatness. LeBron destroyed the NBA. Nobody's watching it. When Jordan left, it was all-time ratings. And the NFL has taken advantage of it. The NFL ran the NBA off of Christmas Day. You see what they did to the Grammys last night? The Grammys had to air it in the bye week. In the bye week. Because no one would have watched it. NFL is king. This is why I love talking about football. It's the number one sport in America for a reason. Over 100 million people will watch this thing on Sunday. Take a look. Like I said, the NBA. Hey, by the way, if Luka could be traded, Embiid can be traded. You want to hear something crazy about Embiid? He's missed 43% of his career in Philly. How do you build a championship around something like that? Hey, Josh, what's the process to that shit? And you're going to build that guy an arena. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Joel Embiid has missed 43% of his career. Oh, another thing LeBron did, made load management a fashionable thing. You imagine NFL guys don't take weekends off. It's 10 times more physical. I'm done with that. I wasted 7 minutes of my life I'll never get back talking NBA. Here are the reasons. The big Silz reasons the Eagles beat the Chiefs, and then I'm going to go the big Silz reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Hit the like button. Give me a total, guys. All supers go to the top like Harv. Here's number one. You got to get Barkley going early. The key to the Super Bowl is going to be both running games. Get Barkley going. Let's find out how tough Kansas City is in stopping the run. Run that zone run right at him. Point to it. I'm running right here. I don't believe Kansas City can stop that. I want to see that. Only chance we got winning is if Patty gets hit by a bus on the way to the arena. He can't. Or he breaks both his arms. So 0 chance. Brian, you're too much, man. That's good shit right there, Brian. Good pumper, man. Oh, yeah, vagina. Fucking crazy. All right. Let me go here, man. Hey, pumper. That's too good, man. Hit the like button. Yeah. Oh my God. Gotta get Barkley going. Dude, you're nuts too. I agree with Flex and Pumper, man. Look at that thing. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that up there and let that hang there if I may. Thank you, Pump. Gotta get Barkley going. Let's see if Kansas City can stop the run. Number 2. I said this last week, and I'll now make it part of the game plan. I'd put Zach Bond on Travis Kelce and make those wide receivers beat me. Make those wide receivers in Kansas City beat me. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. Okay? Make those guys beat me. Don't let Kelce beat me. That guy ESP actually had Dallas Goedert ahead of Travis Kelce in advantages in the fucking game. I must have missed it, but as good as Goddard is, Kelce's one of the greatest Super Bowl receivers in history. It's so dumb. Hey, and by the way, I heard Zander say something. I was flipping through and I heard Zander say this to John. I don't see the advantages that Kansas City has. Well, I would make this point to you. I don't think their advantages are that much better than Kansas City's. Chris Jones is superior to Jalen Carter, but is that a big reach? No. It's probably, if you're going on a scale of 1 to 10, Chris is a 10, Carter's a 9. Okay? You really think Nolan Smith is that much better than Carl Aptis, the kid, the defensive? I don't. That's probably 1, 2. You can go either way. McDuffie or Slay, probably 1 or 2, 9, 10. The quarterback's the only massive gap. The running game is a massive gap. The O-line, they got the best center in football. Do you know that guy, Tooney? If he wins, he's got his 5th Super Bowl. Pretty crazy. Only Brady and Charles Haley will have 5 or more Super Bowls, and he'll be one of them. Okay? I mean, the coaching is superior. But again, I think the coaches in Philly have done a great job this year. That's like 8, 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. You're going against generational coaches and a quarterback. You're good everywhere. Like Zander said, you're good everywhere, but you're going against the greatest, maybe of all time. Okay, I mean, advantages? Coaching matters in the NFL. Recruiting matters in college. Number 2, like I said, I put Zach Bond on Travis Kelce. I don't want him beating me. I don't want him moving the sticks at all. I don't want to get him going. Let Hollywood Brown and them other guys beat me. Let me see if they can. I love how everybody goes, Mahomes is not the same as he was 4 years ago. Are you fucking high? He's smarter now. Mahomes is 2 years older than Hurts. If anybody's not the same, it's Hurts with all his talent. Well, Mahomes is not the same. Mahomes is not the same because he doesn't have the same talent around him, but he still wins. Hurts couldn't have the same talent around him because he wouldn't win. Not taking Hollywood Brown and fucking Juju Smith-Schuster to a Super Bowl. That, again, that's for everyone in the league. That's not just an Eagle thing. Dude, that's like saying you put a guy like LeBron James on any one of the other basketball teams. Would he make him a contender in his prime? Yeah. Like Mahomes could go to Chicago and make them a contender in the NFC. Number 3. Eagles are going to have to play 60 minutes of football. Don't play 55 minutes because they'll beat you. You've got to play 60 minutes of football against this team. If you're going to beat the champs, I would bracket Kelsey and double team him and man on the other receivers. Yes. Just tell me what the sports media will say when Mahomes loses. Tell me what the excuses are going to be. Have to complain about, I can't wait. Richard, Brady lost Super Bowls. He's 7-3 in them. What would you say about him if he lost the Super Bowl? I would say nothing. It has no bearing on his legacy. Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls to Nick Foles and Eli fucking Manning. I mean, what do you say about a substitute teacher beating Tom Brady in a Super Bowl? Nothing. Because he's got 7 of them. I mean, you think it diminishes the guy who's been to 5 Super Bowls? I don't. So you look down on Elway for being 2-3 in Super Bowls? I don't. I mean, I'm not sure what you're saying here. Excuses? He got beat by a better team. So let it play out on Sunday. Mahomes is playing for great. I'll show you something here. Here. Let me write this down. Here, I wrote this down. I'll get back to my 10 reasons why the Eagles and what they have to do to beat the Chiefs. This is, as the Chiefs go for a three-peat, they're 60 minutes away from this. The Dolphins are 72-74, went back-to-back. Packers 66-68. Steelers 75-76, 79-80. They had 2 teams. The Niners 89-1990 team. The Cowboys 93-94 team. The Broncos 98-99. The Patriots 04 and 05. And now Kansas City. There's only been 9 teams in NFL history that have a shot at three-peating. And his legacy will be hurt if he loses. How fucking dumb. Just dumb. This game does more for Hurts than Mahomes. This guy's playing against Brady's legacy, not Hurts's. Hurts has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. The only thing he has anything to do with Mahomes is who he's playing on Sunday. He's another guy to have to beat to get into the conversation talking about Brady and him. Jalen Hurts has got nothing to do with Mahomes. Not yet. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Really? Let's stay on par here. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. Number 4. If the Eagles, again, are going to beat the Chiefs, these are my reasons. Here's number 4. Hurts, he's going to have to spread the ball around more than his top 2 receivers to beat Kansas City. You can't be that predictable with Spagnuolo. Just can't be AJ and Devontae and sometimes Goddard. He's got to spread the ball around. I'm not talking about going to Jahan Dotson. I'm talking about those three dudes have to be involved in this pass game. If you're going to go to the pass game, get everyone involved. The less you go to Goddard, the more predictable you become to a guy with 4 Super Bowls. You know, what's crazy about how John McMullen sees some people, John McMullen doesn't believe that Sean McVay is that good a coach because he lost to Belichick. I mean, he's got 4 division titles and 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl in 8 years. And John doesn't think that's a good resume. And here with Spagnuolo's got 4 Super Bowl rings already on 2 different teams. And he beat the GOAT too. How's that not a good resume? Dude, if winning matters for Nick, it's got to matter for those 2 guys too, doesn't it? I mean, how could someone look at Nick and go, well, Nick wins a lot, and those guys got the hardware. Dude, but then again, John's the same guy that says, I'll take 4 Super Bowl appearances over a Super Bowl ring. And I'm like, I'm not really going to debate that. I mean, I'll take 4 second-place finishes over 1 first-place finish? I don't know. Okay, I guess. I like John a lot, but not me, man. I don't get that one. The Eagles, if they're going to beat the Chiefs. Number 5. I'm going to put Cooper DeJean and C.J. Gardner-Johnson on Xavier Worthy. I cannot have explosion plays. That's a Death Star. Keep that guy on him. Okay? Keep that guy on him. Hey, Zander, can we send a link to Gary Cobb at 4:30? Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. Angelo's a little sick, so he'll be on Thursday. Keith Byers will be on tomorrow, and we're going to talk Super Bowl with Keith Byers. You can't let Xavier Worthy run around in that secondary and have that guy blow the top off. You can't. Number 6. I think the Eagles are going to have to gamble a little against Kansas City to beat them. Someone asked me what that is. I go, I don't know. We'll know in game. I don't know what that means. Philly wasn't something that they game planned for. It was something they did on the spur of the moment. Gambling in a football game, you can't predetermine what you're going to gamble. The moment will come. And there'll be a decision, probably 5 of them in this game, that Andy will have to make and Nick will have to make to win the game. There'll be 5 critical decisions Sunday that will determine the outcome of the ball game. Okay? Remember something. Doug gambled to beat Belichick and Brady. I think you're going to have a moment in there. I'm not talking crazy shit. Because I don't think you have to go crazy and do crazy shit. I think you have to gamble, though, and do something to beat that team. You know why? Remember something. The Philadelphia Eagles, as much as Zander was talking today about they have all the advantages, one more time, I'll tell you, you guys win a lot of games. They win championships. You don't know how to win championships. They do. You think there's a premium on that? Well, we got the talent. Well, they have the titles. What team would you rather have? Let's use common sense here. Well, we got more talent everywhere. They got more titles than you everywhere. Okay? By the way, I'm not talking about psycho gambling. Okay? I'm not. There'll be a moment in there in that game where they'll gamble like Doug did. I don't know what that is yet. Going for it on a 4th down on their side of the 50. Big punt. Not going for a field goal. Instead, trying to get the 1st down to keep Kansas City off the field. One more time, I'll go back to what I said last week. I do not believe you're stopping Kansas City on offense. You know why? I haven't seen anybody but Tom Brady in Super Bowls do it. But I do believe this. I don't believe Kansas City can stop the Eagles' offense the way they run the ball. You're going to have to prove that to me too. Those are 2 factors in that game I want to see. I want to see the Philadelphia Eagle defense stop Mahomes, which you haven't. And I want to see somebody stop the Eagles' offensive line and their run game, which no one has. Okay? By the way, everything I'm saying are facts. You win games, they win titles. Am I wrong? What's wrong about that comment? You've got more talent. They have more titles. Go win it. Number 7, for the Eagles to beat the Chiefs, don't let Mahomes extend plays with his legs. Last 2 ball games in the Super Bowl, that is what has won it for Kansas City. Don't let that guy extend series with his legs. You have got to keep that guy contained. You can't let him extend those series like that. Is our team built like the Bucs were versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I think you're better this time right now and tougher than you were in 22. I think you are a physical team. I think they're a finesse team. And I traditionally don't like finesse teams. My man Keith Byers is from Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from. His camp was the first football camp I've been to. He's the reason I'm an Eagle fan. He was Jerome Brown's best friend, too. Just so you know, Anthony. That's why Keith and I have been friends all these years. Be on tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. I love Keith. Ohio State Buckeye, all that, man. I mean, him and Keith Jackson are dear friends of mine. I played against Keith in college. I've known Keith Jackson for over 40 years. I've known Keith Byers for over 40 years. Mahomes has to be spied every play. You have to contain his running. And Kelsey, like you said, make someone else beat you. Yeah, to score. Anthony, here's, like I said, don't let Kelsey beat you. Make Juju Smith-Schuster or Hollywood Brown beat you. If they beat you, Mahomes had some sort of psycho game. But I'm not going to let Kelsey loose. That's not going to happen. I can't do that. Number 8. Now, this is going to sound like a slap in the face at Philly, and it's not. Okay? Eagles, don't panic. And I'm not really talking to players. I'm talking about the coaching staff. Don't panic. You're going to be either up or down in this game. Don't panic. That team you're playing against has seen it all, has been in it all. Do you know what the difference is between this Super Bowl and Super Bowls of the past? What's the difference? You're going against the dynasty. You're not just going against a football team that is there every 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. You're going against a team that has been there now 5 times in 7 years. I mean, don't panic. Thanks, Silz, for getting him on. Met him at age 8. That's awesome. Keith's a great dude, man. I have great respect for Keith Byers. Keith Byers, can you imagine, Anthony, if Keith Byers was in today's NFL? He'd be Alvin Kamara. Byers gaining 800 yards and another 700 yards receiving. How much money do you think that fucker would make today in the NFL? He'd make about $17 million a year, Keith Byers. Keith Byers and Randall Cunningham were ahead of their time. Those two dudes played in today's game. I look at Patrick Mahomes and I see Randall Cunningham. Okay, I see Randall. Number 9. These are the 10 ways I think Philadelphia has to construct their game plan to beat Kansas City. If I'm Vic, you're not just going to bring blitzes against Patrick Mahomes. You're just not going to. You've got to bring blitzes and situational blitzes. And you've got to play high-stake poker with this guy. Silz, you missed my super chat. Richard, we'll get to that. Silz, I get it, but he's a crybaby. The minute he gets touched, he starts crying to the refs. I mean, I'm not dismissing his career. You're right. He does moan. He's a little bit of a flopper. He got called on it, too. I forget who called him on it. I think Aikman called him on it. I hate that shit, too, man. I'll tell you what, though. I would do the same shit he does. If the refs are going to go down that route and they're going to call the game like that, hey, I'm going to tell you this, guys. You want a tight game called. Because if they call a tight football game, that favors Philly. Because then the refs can't make them gratuitous pass interference calls. If they let these guys play and they call the game tight, Philly, that's not going to be a problem. If they call it loose, that favors KC. That favors KC. Playing for this year's chip, right? They can't cash in pasted titles for first downs. You want our pass rushing middle linebacker to cover the best tight end ever and the slower safeties to cover the fastest wide receiver in the league. Once again, dude, what I want you to do is your best player on their best player. It's best on best. Travis Kelce can hurt you. Who else in that offense is going to fucking hurt you, guy? My best ball player is going to shut down their best ball player, might win Zach Ball the MVP award. If he shuts him down and gets a pick and takes it back to the house, he might win the MVP doing that. Xavier Worthy broke the combine record for the 40. There ain't a guy on the Eagles or Kansas City that could run in a race with him. He's the fastest guy in the league. What are you talking about? You think Myles Garrett will be an Eagle? I don't know that right now. I know 15 teams will make. Okay, I know 15 teams will make a play for him. And by the way, I love how people go, yeah, well, I'll give him Jahan Dotson and fucking Ojimo or the backup DTs and a pick. You're like, that ain't cutting it, guy. When you go and trade your Ferrari in, what are you expecting? I love Eagle fans. The Eagle fans are expecting the Browns to trade a Ferrari in and get a what? An F-150 out of it? Are you fucking nuts? They're going to expect a Ferrari out of it. Hey, let me trade you my F-150. Not a bad truck. But they're trading a Ferrari. Yeah, I'll take your Ferrari for my F-150. It's about 10 years old, but here, there it is. Stupid. Vic's got to pick situational moments to blitz. Number 10, get Hurts going in the run game. get him going in the run game, and have him in up-tempo when you want to start throwing the ball. I think the one thing he showed me this year, when he went up-tempo, he was much better when they were able to keep the personnel of the defensive people on the sidelines, and they went up-tempo. I thought he was better when they did that. Get him going in the run game. Dude, if you get Barkley and him going in the run game, I want to see Kansas City stop that. I want to see him stop that. I mean, I don't know. So here's the 10. Get Barkley going. This is for the Eagles to beat. Then we're going to do Chiefs to beat the Eagles. Get Barkley going. I want Zach Bond and Travis Kelce. Eagles have to play 60 minutes of football against this Chiefs team if you want to beat them. Hurts has to spread the ball around. Can't just be two dudes. I'm putting DeJean or C.J. Gardner on Xavier Worthy. I can't have explosion plays in this game. I think the Eagles have to gamble a little. And again, I don't know what that is yet. We'll know when we see it in the game, that moment. Do not let Mahomes extend plays with his legs. Keep containment. Trade Huff and Puff to the Browns. They can use them. For who? Myles Garrett? You couldn't get Myles Garrett's son right now, and he's 10, for Rice and Puff. Eagles stay calm. I'm talking to coaches. Pick your time when to blitz, Mahomes. He's too good at picking blitzes up. And get Hurts going in the run game. In up-tempo. That's how I think you beat Kansas City. Now, the big Silz reasons the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Number one, Mahomes. I mean, I don't really have to say anything else. Mahomes. Number two, Chiefs and Chris Jones. Imperative that they stop the run. Imperative that they stop the run. And I don't believe it. Kansas City's run game with Kareem Hunt and Pacheco have to get going. Have to. I mean, it's crazy here, but very simple formula. Stop the run, run the ball. And personally, I think the Eagles are more set up to do that. Number four, I think Travis Kelce has to have an enormous game. Okay? Anthony Lear, Silz, if you want Sirianni, come. You have to tie him to the bench. Funny. Number four, as I said, Travis Kelce has to have a massive game. 9 catches over 100 yards. That's trouble for Philly. Number 5, on why the Chiefs beat the Eagles. Andy Reid's situational play calling. He's the best play calling head coach in pro football, and maybe ever. I mean, maybe ever. Number 6, Xavier Worthy has to make plays, at least 3 of them, of plus 25 for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. Number 7, for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. All supers go to the top. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. Give me a total here where we are. Zander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Want to see 167 likes? Not bad. Please hit that like button. Zander's going to join us at the bottom. Gary Cobb's join us at 4:30. Angelo's going to join us, I believe, Thursday. He's a little under the weather. Keith Byers will join us tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. So everyone's getting to New Orleans right now. We appreciate everybody. Please hit the like button. Number 7, Spags has to keep the Eagle offense off balance. And what I mean by that is you can't let Philly's offense get into a rhythm. This is going to also be on the side of Kellen Moore. If they come out and they start establishing the passing game and they don't get completions and they get 3 and outs, it favors KC big time. Okay? That puts Spags on the offense. Can't get 3 and outs. Dude, you're not getting this. You're being good enough is not good enough to beat Kansas City. I heard Zander and everyone in Philly, not just him, we're better. No, you're not. You haven't proven that yet. You think you're better. They have a track record of being better. You don't. Well, we won a lot of regular season games. So what? This is the Super Bowl. They are professional Super Bowl winners. They make a religion, a habit of winning that game. You don't. Don't act like you do. Yours is a theory. They've put their theory to practice. All you have is theory. They win. End of the. Well, it doesn't look this. It doesn't matter. You told me it didn't matter all year long. Get this. Here's the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes didn't look like Patrick Mahomes this year, and here he is back in the Super Bowl going for his 3rd in a row. That lies the difference. Hey, end of the day, what I'm talking is facts. You know why? The resume speaks to it. When you put your resume down until you prove this Sunday, those are all jobs you've never had. You don't have a dynasty. You haven't been to Super Bowls consecutively. You don't have a quarterback who carried your football team to the Super Bowl like this kid. You don't have a generational coach. You don't have a generational quarterback. They do. Beat them. Am I sitting here saying you can't? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's why they play the fucking game. Go do it. Go do it. All you're talking about is you believe on paper you're better. You have nothing to prove that. Against a team like KC, what do you have to prove that? How have you proven that? Josh Allen said after the L, to be the champs, you have to beat the champs. Same rule applies to the Eagles. Like I said, this is all about validation here for Philly. All the things that they have done, all the winning they have done, if they stamp it, beating Reed and Mahomes, all your winning becomes a talking point to how you got to your championship when you're standing on the podium, hoisting the Lombardi trophy. This has been our journey. Everyone talks about their journey to the mountaintop. You don't just get helicoptered up and dropped off. You fucking climb to the top. This is your climb. Don't embrace it. Look at Kenneth. Eagles beat Kansas City in a fucking meaningless game last year. Congratulations. You've got 2 consolation prizes, and they've got the Lombardi trophy at your expense. Okay. And you sound like people that say, I'd rather have 4 Super Bowl losses than 1 win. Number 9, Trent McDuffie. He has to have a great game against AJ. That entire secondary has to have a great game. Because let me tell you, they get that run game going, and all of a sudden that slant opens. That'd be a tough one for Kansas City to stop. Okay? Number 10, Mahomes can't run for 60 or more yards in this ball game. Hey, you were just reminded me of something, Flexen. Why don't you act like Kobe? Job's not finished. Doesn't seem you're happy. Job's not finished. You're up 2-0. Job's not finished. Why don't you act like a champion? Job's not finished. That's what made that guy the Mamba. Fuck that. Job ain't finished. Thank you, Philly 007. I appreciate you, brother. Dude, walk into this game with Mamba mentality. Absolutely. I agree, Keith. And you are the bullies to do it. Go in there and act like it. I'm not taking shit from anybody. If I were the Eagles and I had that kind of physicality, I would walk in there with so much shit talking going on right now, you would not believe it, because I don't believe you could beat me in a fight. But it's Kansas City. I mean, you're like a heavyweight puncher like Tyson. They're like Ali. You're going against the greatest. You're actually more like Frazier. Joe was one of the top 5 great heavyweights of all time. But you're going against guys like Brady and Mahomes who are Ali. Was Ali ever beaten by Frazier? Yeah. Frazier beat him. Dude, Brian Dawkins goes, a team that's won 3 Super Bowls and been to 5 of them thinks they're on the same level as the Eagles. That's so fucking dumb. Where in the world do you think you are? They make it to Super Bowls and win them. You don't. Not yet. Dude, there's nothing wrong with people doing this. Prove it. I thought that was the mantra of your city. Isn't it? Prove it. Oh, and by the way, Silz, Kansas City's going to have to prove they can beat us. I don't mind that mentality because I don't believe they're tougher than you. Kyle, I love being the underdog. When I know deep down in my heart, when I punch you in the face, we're going to level that out. I'll show you underdog. I think that makes me hungrier, being the underdog. I can't wait for this heavyweight fight. You got one of the greatest fighters of all time in the ring on Sunday. And you're going to go in there and prove it like Frazier when you beat him in Ali 1. You knocked him on his ass in the 15th round, 14th round, I think it was. You knocked Ali on his ass. You know how many times Ali was knocked on his backside? Cooper, Frazier, I'm talking in his prime. I think 3 times. He was never cut. He was never cut. But he was beat. Norton beat him. Frazier beat him. Those guys beat him in his prime. You're no Buster Douglas. Absolutely not. This ain't Buster Douglas getting into the ring versus Tyson. You're Frazier. You belong in that ring. Douglas didn't. He was a 40-1. You ain't 40-1, dog. You belong in this game. I'm not suggesting you don't. You belong in this game. Okay? Anthony, an older, that's right, beat a 39-year-old Ali. I'm talking guy when he was around 32, 26 to 32. Hey, Furman, if I've made you think you can't walk in there and beat this team Sunday, you're mistaken. And you belong in this ring with them. You're like Joe and Frazier Ali 1. I'm going to knock you on your ass. That's what Frazier told him. And he did. And he beat him. He beat Ali in his prime. Nobody. They were both undefeated. Let's just trade for Myles Garrett and throw him in. Man, him and Carter, that'd be fucking a freak show if you land that thing. Somehow, I think that guy, Howie Roseman, can make it happen. I don't know. So there are here are my 10. For the Chiefs to beat the Eagles, Mahomes, Chiefs, and Chris Jones have to stop the run. Here, I'll tell you on February 3rd. I don't know. Really? Show me you can do it. He's the best tackle in the game. I can see people in Philly going, Silz, you don't think Carter's better? Not yet. And we're talking this. 10, 9. He's a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, and he's a 10. I don't know. You all right with that? And he's younger. Relax. KC has to get their run game going with Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, or it's over. By the way, I like how people will go like this. I don't see them being able to do this. Well, then you're in denial. They have gone against better teams the last 2 Super Bowls and did it. We're better now. Prove it. You're a theory until you prove it. Your words until you prove it. Kansas City proves it every year. Travis Kelce cannot have a huge game. Andy Reid's situational play calling is some of the best since Bill Walsh. Andy Reid versus Vic. Who you got? What do you got? If you guys think you're such a dynamic at every position, do you have faith? Our rookies on defense? Yeah. Because I don't really see it. Stop Kelsey, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster stopping Mahomes. Look at these people. So you're going to take Vic, who's never won a Super Bowl in his entire career, over a guy who has 10 conference championships and 3 Super Bowls. Really? Okay. You can't have Xavier Worthy making big plays. Andy Reid is 8-0 versus Vic Fangio, and so is Mahomes. Keeping score. Spags has to keep the Eagle offense off balance. Do I think that's a possibility? Not if that run game's going. You're going to have to prove that one to me. Trent McDuffie and that secondary, they have to play great. I mean, they have to play great. And Mahomes, in my opinion, cannot have 60-plus yards rushing. Okay? Cannot. So, those are my 10 ways both teams have to go into this. Again, I think the storyline is going to come down the young defense versus the experienced Patrick Mahomes. And can Kansas City really stop the Philadelphia Eagles' run offense? I'm not sure. I'm not. Big Silz, I see you on Broad Street next Thursday. Look, I'm going to say this to you always, Sonny. You're going into this fight on Sunday. I think you're the bully. I think Kansas City, I don't think they're as physical, but I don't think Andy Reid has ever really been a physical guy, except maybe in Philly. But that's how they build that team. Dude, Kareem Hunt's been pretty good. But do I think they can run the ball like that? Look, your run defense has been what, top 10? Top 10, top 5. Who gives a shit? They're one of the top run defenses. Okay? I want to see Kansas City run that ball. Do I think they can? A little bit. A little bit. Do I think they're going to go for 150, 60 yards? No. If they do, let me tell you something. If Kansas City gets 160 yards rushing on you, game's over. Kansas City wins it. Because that means play action's open, and that means you're off balance. You've got to stop Kelsey, cover him, and make them one-dimensional. Don't let them get going in the run game, which means containing Mahomes, setting the edges. Let me tell you how important it's going to be for Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith. Not necessarily to get to him, but to keep him in the pocket. He won that Super Bowl last year because he broke containment. With how this team is built and how close 22 was, does a win signify the start of an Eagle dynasty? Also, does it elevate Hurts above the elite quarterbacks who haven't won? You win a Super Bowl, and then you put the other fact that you were close in that Super Bowl and you lost by 3. You're not in that Joe Flacco room. You start to get in that Aikman room. Now, it's only one Super Bowl, but it's 2 appearances and 2 conference titles. That's got to mean something. And it does to me. And you've done that in 3 years. I don't know. I guess. And you've been to the playoffs every year. Absolutely. Look, no one's going to draft him to build a Super Bowl team around him. I mean, no one's going to draft him and ask him to lead you to a Super Bowl. But put in the right environment like Aikman, he's the perfect guy. Aikman was the perfect fit in Dallas. He won 3 Super Bowls doing it. No one is ever going to put Troy Aikman in the top 5 quarterbacks of all time. But when you look at his championships, there's only been Bradshaw, Montana, Brady, and Mahomes that have won more than 3. He'd be one of 5 Super Bowls in the Super Bowl, 5 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era if he can win multiple Super Bowls. It's got to matter. Would that put Hurts in the top 10 quarterback? No, it would not. He doesn't do top 10 things. That quarterback does not do top 10 things. Now, when it comes to what they're asking him to do, he fits just like Aikman. Aikman ain't no way a top 5 quarterback, says Flexen. He's got 3 rings. He's got 3 rings. Nobody would ever take Troy Aikman over Dan Marino. But he's got 3 rings. We did something pretty cool here, too. I ranked my top 40, like you see or you hear on the radio, top 40. I got my top 40 Eagles and Chiefs. And I ranked them on who they're going to face and the players. And I ranked the top 40 Eagles and Chiefs. We're going to do that here in a second. Do you like Ken Stabler? I could see Hurts' career mirroring him or Russell Wilson. More Wilson because he moves more like him. Ken didn't really use his wheels all that much unless you're talking to sea of hands against the Dolphins. He moved around a bit, but isn't it funny? The greatest quarterbacks in Alabama history were not in Saban's era. They were in Barrett Bryant's era. Richard Todd, Ken Stabler, and Namath. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Nick. You got 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks out of Alabama during the Bear Bryant era. I'm still waiting to see a guy who's a superstar ball player in the Nick Saban era that played quarterback. And let's not forget, he fired Hurts in Alabama. Yeah, well, Chip, Saban fired him. You get credit for it for firing him? That'd be like Ryan Day and Urban Meyer taking credit for Joe Burrow after they fired him for Justin Fields. Really? Give him credit for that? I mean, oh, yeah. Hey, well, after the fact. Hit the like button. Guys, do me a favor. Please give me a total on where we are in the likes. Supers all go to the top like Always Sunny. How do you like Chip Kelly on the Raiders? Chip Kelly probably has learned an awful lot on his failures. Okay? On his failures. And that coordinating in the NFL is way different. By the way, did I not tell you that Chip Kelly, once he won the national championship, was going to get an elevated job? It only took a week for that to come true. And now he's the OC of the Raiders. Don't be shocked. If that guy does a great job, whatever quarterback gets in there, it becomes the head coach of the Raiders. There he goes, Chip still ain't shit. Well, that's not how the world is working for him. He's still getting opportunities to coach. High-level jobs. How does a guy who ain't worth a shit get the UCLA job after being fired twice Then he gets the OC job and he quits the UCLA job and wins a national championship in Columbus. Then he's the OC with the Raiders. Hey, what you said's not facts. That's not facts. Would I hire him? No way. I think his bedside manner blows. I'm with you. I don't think he's shit either. But they hire him. Okay, I mean, they hire his ass. I'd hire John Gruden before I'd hire Chip Kelly. Okay? By the way, somebody bringing up Oregon. You could put anybody in Oregon and they're going to win. Why? Nil. Oh, Nike backs them? Great, I'm in. Okay. There's no coincidence why the best college football program on the West Coast is in at Oregon and in Eugene. Why? Nike. That's the corporate headquarters. And Phil Knight, while he's alive, is like T. Boone Pickens. He's going to keep funneling money into that program. There's an endowment that has his name on it that after he dies, they're still going to get $350 million out of his wealth every year from the money that Nike makes. Every other college football program and college basketball program that's in America today that uses the Jordan brand or Nike pays for Oregon football. Did you know that? Did you know that? It's in an endowment. That's right. Plus your chances of getting an endorsement from Nike because you played at Oregon. Come on, man. Chip Kelly at Oregon. Name me a coach that sucked there. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Silz, I don't get to listen every day because of my job. I listen to you every day on my way home from work. You and JAKIB are the best sports listener around. Thank you for all the hard work. Go Birds. Hutch, absolutely sensational. And I thank you. Hutch, it's just me and you sitting around a bar having a beer. Okay? That's all we do here, dog. You know? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. As Zander would tell you, I got a different approach. You know, maybe sometimes you feel like this when Big Silz is talking to you. Ooh, that's a little rough. Ooh. Oh, my God. We'll do that top 40 here in a second here. We'll do that. Actually, I'm going to throw those ways to beat the Chiefs for the Eagles and also Chiefs beating the Eagles. We'll do that with Zander here in a minute. Don't forget, Gary Cobb will join us at 4:30. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. We appreciate you guys. So Lane Johnson will be back in 2025. Why not? Why not? He's playing all pro football right now. Okay? Why not? He's the second best right tackle in the game. And by the way, if you want to flip a coin and go, that guy over there takes Penei Sewell and I get Lane, I'm cool with that. Or you want Lane and I'll take Penei? Sure. That's the difference. That's the difference. The only difference is that one guy's 25 and the other guy's 35. Okay? That's the only difference. Is that he's continuing to have great success in his 30s, mid-30s. Chip Kelly is a good X's and O's coach. He just doesn't know how to connect with players, and hopefully he's gotten better with time. Same with Brian Flores up in Minnesota. Yeah, his bedside manner's awful. You know, his bedside manner was awful. One more time, and I know you guys don't like to hear this. Chip was not wrong in getting rid of Shady and Deshaun Jackson. You won a Super Bowl 2 years later. They were not wrong doing that. I mean, they didn't need him. Doug won it 2 years later without them. However, how the whole exits all happened and what they did with Buffalo, all that was awful. All of that was awful. I just said it. Always Sunny. Kiko Pershady is brutal. It's a slap in the face. It's the way. No doubt, both those guys were wronged. And by the way, the guy covering your football team, ESP had a lot to do with Deshaun Jackson being exited out of there. I personally think Chip Kelly and ESP conspired with that story in some way or some form or fashion to get Deshaun Jackson out of Philadelphia. I do. Because they used that story to get Deshaun Jackson out of Philly. Did they not? I mean, right? I mean, Chip's bedside manner sucks. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. By the way, all supers go to the top. Appreciate it. I'll do my rankings after I talk to Zander because I got Gary Cobb at 4:32, and as I said, Keith Byers is tomorrow. We're working on Keith Jackson, and also some other surprises this week as everybody gets settled getting down to New Orleans. I believe this is New Orleans' 11th time that they've hosted a Super Bowl, tying Miami for the most Super Bowls being hosted by a city. I think it's 11 with them, and Miami has 11. A lot of history on Sunday. No doubt. Great storylines going in on a Monday here. Hit that like button. Without further ado, this is one of my favorite. Hey, I've been to probably 15 Super Bowls. My wife, I threw 20 out. My wife goes, I think it's like 15 to 18, somewhere in there I've been to. And I rarely stayed for the game. Okay? I rarely stayed for the game. Because the Super Bowl week was just like a convention back in the day. Big Silz is good. I'm glad John McMullen is going to be covering it for us. But for me, Big Silz don't need to be seen. Everyone knows where the fuck I am. You know where that is? Right here on JAKIB. Some of you watched the bitch for over an hour. How you doing? That's right, man. And it's Super Bowl week. I can't wait for this bad puppy, man. Yeah, hey. Yeah, I got to love Howie, man. I heard John say this the other day. Here's Howie down in New Orleans now. He's strutting his little feathers. You know how one of those little peacocks gets those feathers going like this? Yeah, I knew Barkley would have over 2,000 yards, and I knew he'd have a year. So why the fuck did you offer DeAndre Swift a contract first? I knew we were going to have him. I knew. Quack, 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 quack. Here's Howie quacking away down there, man. Unbelievable, man. Just go win the ball game on Sunday. All right. Gary Cobb at 4:30. With all that, our friend, Zander Krause, co-host of Birds 365, joins us now. And, man, I can imagine right now he's all jacked up, hat all backwards. These guys all ready to rock and roll. Boxing gloves are ready to go on Sunday. This bitch is ready to get in that ring and start fighting. Heavyweight championship is on Sunday in New Orleans at Superdome. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. You're not doing your job this week. I'll tell you what. You're not doing your job, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I feel too damn good about this Super Bowl. I feel like we are just going to be too much for them. I think we're going to be too much for them, and I thought you were going to make me feel worse about that, and you didn't. You didn't really make me feel worse about that.
Your conversation is all theory. You haven't proven